Good morning. Today, we're going to talk about these little guys and how cute they are, but also what a menace they can become when we treat them like little living toys, or we treat them like they don't have opinions, or we allow them to get super bored. So she's super tiny. You all see me carrying her around. She has my little pouch. She likes to sleep in a lot. She's, content to hang around, but she's still got a brain. She's still got energy, and she's still a dog. So when we let our little dogs, or we treat our little dogs like they're not dogs, or we let them get away with things because they're little and it's kind of funny and it's kind of cute and we're like, oh, but they're like babies, right? Then we get problems. Sorry, I'm not in the mood to be crowded by dogs today, so I'm trying to get everybody to give me some space by using my legs. So that little lady, cute and sweet, so much fun, right? Yeah, well, she is she's starting to come out of her shell really well, and she's decided that she now wants to be a jerk. So it started because the big dogs came and ate her food. And so she started saying, absolutely not, get out of my food. Acceptable, totally acceptable, good for you, don't let anybody steal your food. But it quickly went from that to, don't look at my love seat. Then she was going after my Mastiff, who was eating my Mastiff was eating my Mastiff's food. And little girl is up there going, you stop eating your food right now. Okay, what happened? Like literally from one to the other extreme in a week. And now it's become all kinds of things that she's decided she's going to rule the dogs. And my big dogs won't do anything back. They won't even growl. They won't, do anything. In fact, my Mastiff walked away from her food and was like, Mom, she won't let me eat my food. And that's good. But the problem is that at some point, if I don't get her chilled out, at some point, one of those big dogs might finally say, listen, lady, I've had enough of you. Because now she's being a jerk to them while they're eating their food, or she's being a jerk to them for walking by the love seat, or for getting near me, or whatever it is she's decided that she's going to tell them about it. And unfortunately, their mouths are bigger than her whole body. So if they snap and correct her, they could hurt her without trying to. And, she's starting fights that she can't win. And, if any of them would grab her even for just a second, that could be the end of it. And in a lot of households, that's the big dog's problem. They should know that dog is little and they should be easy. Dogs don't know size. If they understood size, do you think those 2-pound Chihuahuas would be taking on my 157-pound Mastiff, whose mouth is bigger than her whole body? My Mastiff could swallow her whole. She's smaller than the bunnies that my Mastiff eats. They don't understand size. And unfortunately, little dogs are allowed to get away with a lot more than big dogs. Like little dogs can stand and jump and climb your legs and paw you and pester you a lot more than a big dog can, right? Because, it doesn't really hurt. They're not knocking you over. It's cute because they look like puppies. But the problem is that when we let these things slide, again, the little dog gets this sense of they can just handle everything. And unfortunately, there's going to come a time where a dog, when she does that to a dog, whether it's mine or a boarding dog, that dog is going to say, honey, and she's going to pay the ultimate price because of the size difference. But it's not fair to allow the little dogs to be jerks to the big dogs and make them tolerate it. That's like the older sibling being stuck doing whatever the younger sibling wants all the time, just so the younger sibling doesn't throw a fit because mom and dad don't want to hear it. That is unfair, and it creates resentment. So the more you allow those things to go on, the more likely it is that you're going to have a clash. Because when we're not stepping in for the big dogs who are tolerating it and walking away and we're not getting on her, eventually they go, okay, it's all on me, so I have to deal with it. So just like those siblings, when mom and dad aren't around, what do you think big siblings doing? Pinching, pushing, being mean to the little kid. Not because they need to be, but because they're frustrated that they are forced to deal with whatever they want to give them, and the parents who are supposed to be in charge aren't intervening and helping. And we are the parents when it comes to the dogs. It's our job to do that intervening. You know, little dogs have brains. In fact, Chihuahuas are listed as one of the smartest breeds out there. But what do we give them to do all day? Nothing. I don't know how many times people won't even give their small dogs hard food where they have to actually work at eating it a little bit because it's just too hard. Well, okay, but that hard food also helps with their teeth, which, by the way, little dogs are already at a disadvantage with those teeth. They always go bad sooner. But when owners do that, where they won't give them things to chew on because they're like, and they're like having a hard time, you're taking away from them. But no one thinks twice about that big dog holding something on the side of their mouth and chewing on it, right? Because for some reason, when they're little, people want to treat them like babies and puppies, and we have to cater to them. But all we're creating is little monsters. You know, we're creating little spoiled brats who are going to start things they can't finish, who are going to get hurt. And the big dogs can pay for this as well, because I have heard it many times. If the big dog reacts in any way, well, then the big dog is the problem. But it's not. It's not the big dog's problem. A lot of times, these little dogs are the ones that start it, and it's the big dogs that are tolerating it until they can't take it anymore. Again, think of being bullied. Okay, you're either going to stay being bullied, or at some point you're going to snap and you're going to let them have it. And when the one being bullied snaps, it's not, hey, knock it off. It's, I'm going to kill you, knock it off. Okay, so it's not fair to let your dogs, any more than you want your kids to get bullied, right? You know, your kid gets bullied and they don't say anything, and then finally, all of a sudden, they just beat the crap out of that kid. Hopefully that's all it is, but still, like your kid who never does anything loses it because they snapped, and that's what will happen in your households as well. Also, little dogs tend to be more anxious. Why? For one, they already live in a giant world, okay? They're no bigger than the size of our foot or slightly bigger than the size of our foot, and everything around them is huge. Everything is bigger. Being held means you're farther from the ground. Everything is scarier, and they know it. So they're already living in those scary worlds. Then you add in no mental stimulation, very little physical stimulation, and now their brains are just bored out of their minds. Their bodies have all this energy. So what do? They find something that gives them that release of frustration, and that usually ends up being chasing dogs, barking at things outside for no reason, chasing people, you know, carrying on 90% of the day because there's just nothing else to do but bark. And that is the problem. We're not teaching our little dogs any rules. We give them whatever. We pick them up. That's another thing we do. We take choice away from them. I don't know a ton of big dogs that people are just walking around scooping up and carrying around with them no matter what that big dog wanted to do, right? Because it's too hard. But your little 2-pound dog or 10-pound dog is trotting around the house off to get a drink, and then you just swoop in, pick it up, and take it to the bedroom and lay on the bed with it. And they're like, I didn't want this. I wanted to go get a drink. I wanted to go look out the window. I wanted to walk. I wanted to find a toy. I wanted to do something. And you just took all my choice. And now I'm on a bed that's too tall, because I know in my house it's too tall. She can't get down. So she's stuck. So we take all the choice away from them, even more so than our big dogs already get taken away. And they can get crabby about being picked up, and they start biting. They start growling. They start yelling at you for doing it because, dude, you're not asking. You're not teaching them what you're doing. You're just picking them up and making them do it. When I was in elementary school, I was really small. And for some reason, boys thought it was really cool to just, look, I can pick her up and carry her around. Well, yeah, dude, I was like 40 pounds at 6th grade. You know, I mean, I was just really tiny. But I would be talking to my friends or doing something, and some boy would just come around and pick me up and like walk off with me. So I totally understand how little dogs feel. And the first time or two, I'd be like, what are you doing? Put me down. Well, because I couldn't, they thought I was small and they could carry me, that they couldn't put me down. Then I had to start doing other things. So I learned that if you kick your feet backwards, it hurts when your knees go backwards. And I got boys to put me down. So I became a grouchy little chihuahua. You're picking me up. You're not giving me choice. It's not what I want to do. So I'm going to kick, elbow, bite, whatever. Let me down. Okay? So, you know, this chihuahua back here, she's a grown dog. She's 2.5 years old. She's the same age as my boxer. I can't treat her like a baby or a puppy and yet tell my boxer she needs to be a grown-up. Well, that's just silly. That's like having twins. Like, let's say you have fraternal twins and one's smaller than the other one. You're going to make the taller one follow the rules of their age, but the shorter one not? No, that's not how that works. So we have to do better with our little dogs. We have to give them things to do. We have to teach them rules. We have to give them exercise. And, you know, we have to do these things so that they're not monsters and so that they're not losing their head in here as well. So keep that in mind. If your little dog is being a brat, there's probably a good reason for it. You're probably not giving them enough to do. Any dog or person or child who doesn't have mental and physical stimulation is not going to be a very pleasant person. Unless for some reason they're very chill. And it does happen. There are some very chill people, kids, and dogs out there that don't mind. But if your dog is barking at literally nothing, according to you, if they are guarding, being aggressive, chasing people out, whatever the case might be, it's a hint you need to do training. It's not just live with it just because they can't maul you. You're living with a little dog who's not feeling very good. So let's think about that. Remember, they are dogs too. So they need toys, they need to dig, they need to chase and hunt. They need to do all kinds of fun things. And they need to have rules and structure. And it's literally life-saving, because if they act up in the wrong way to the wrong dog, and maybe even the wrong person, it could be the end of things happening for them. So, see you later.